Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to the kitchen. Well, it's Saturday, and we need something really good to eat for breakfast. So we're going to have homemade biscuits, and I'm going to make some tomato gravy. Now, everybody don't like tomato gravy, but I like tomato gravy. So when I met Troy, the first time I went to meet his mother, she made the most wonderful breakfast. We got there, and it would have been more like brunch, but anyhow. Her biscuits were just to die for. And I came home telling Mother about Miss Jordan's biscuits and how good they were. I said, Mama, they were crumbly and they were good. And she said, well, baby, your daddy likes a heavy biscuit, so I don't put lard in my biscuits. But if you want a crumbly biscuit like that, she said, you put melted shortening in it. And Mother just made buttermilk biscuits. Well, I loved Miss Jordan's biscuits, and she had a big Tupperware bowl, those big old 12-inch ones with the lid on them. I think they were yellow and maybe a green color, full of self-rising flour. And she'd make a little hole in the middle and pour her liquid that we're going to mix up in it and do it with her hands and pinch her biscuits off. Well, I don't make biscuits often enough for me to have a biscuit bowl anymore. But I kind of measured it here a while back, and the amount of flour it takes for the amount of the rest of the stuff is about 2 cups. Now I may have to add some more, but I'm going to add 2 cups of self-rising flour to my bowl. And she always used self-rising. And then you take 1/4 of a cup of Crisco. Now my mother-in-law used Miss Tucker's lard, but I always use Crisco. You take 1/4 of a cup of Crisco and you're going to melt it. And then you're going to fill your cup on up to 1 cup with buttermilk, which should be about 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. Now the secret's really not in getting them mixed up. The secret's in learning to roll them and pat them and mark them with a V and put them in the oven for the baby and me. Mine don't look pretty. My daddy told me one time my biscuits look like little terrapins, little turtles. I'm going to get this. You have to practice, and I don't practice real often, but the taste is amazing. Let me put this in the microwave and melt it, and then I'll bring y'all over here and show you what's going on with the mixing process. Okay, I've got my Crisco melted. Now what you do is you take good, fresh, cold buttermilk, and you're just going to pour it in there with that hot Crisco up to the 1 cup mark. And then take your fork and stir it. And you see it's just making little slivers of the grease or the Crisco in with your buttermilk. And that's what makes your biscuits good. See, you can see little pieces of lard. And what grandmother would do, she'd make her a little well right here in the middle. Let me put a little more flour in there, and I'll just make a little bitty biscuit bowl to show y'all how she did it. And I never liked coffee, and it was cold. It was in February when I met her the first time, and she had that International Cafe Vienna. Oh my goodness, I liked that too. I didn't think I liked coffee. Okay, now you just take this and you pour it in your little well in the middle. And I've got an iron skillet with some bacon grease heated over here to put them in. It makes the bottom of them real crunchy and good. So what you do, you just start mixing, and you're mixing just a little bit of flour and a little bit of your wet mixture at a time, making a little dough. See? See it falling down in there? I hope y'all can see that. See, it just keeps pulling away from the side, and my dough keeps getting a little thicker. I can just see her. She had a little table sitting in the kitchen, one of those little Formica top tables. And she'd set that bowl on there and she'd work her dough, work her magic. Her biscuits were wonderful. But that was her formula. 1/4 of a cup of the melted lard, whatever kind you use, Crisco or Miss Tucker's or whatever your choice is. And fill it on up with buttermilk, which would be 3/4 of a cup. Okay, that's just about ready. Now what Miss Jordan would do, she'd just take her a piece like this and pinch it off. Well, she didn't have it all over her hands. Get it off my hands. You just pinch you a piece off and shape it, and she'd roll it and pat it, and hers looked pretty. But see, got me a pretty good little biscuit, and I'm just gonna, I'll show y'all in a minute, but right now I'm just gonna put them in my pan here, and it's hot. I don't know if I can get it. Yeah, you can see it right there. Pinch me off another little piece and shape it. You just keep working them and getting them shaped. Now if you don't want to do all of this, you can just put your 2 cups of flour in with your cup of your buttermilk mixture, and you can stir up some biscuits. You can do drop biscuits if you want to. They'll have the same flavor. I want to scoot this back where y'all can see the biscuits. Okay. See, I've got them with some bacon grease on the top. This one could use a little bit more bacon grease. They don't look too pretty, and they're not going to look real pretty when they're done, but they'll taste good. Okay, I'm going to get them into a 400-degree oven for about 15 or 20 minutes, and I'll bring y'all back and show you the biscuits. Okay, I've got my 1 can of diced tomatoes with bell peppers and onions in it, and 1 can of chicken broth. And into that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of onion powder into my broth. And I'm going to add about a teaspoon or a little bit less, maybe a half teaspoon of garlic powder. Into my, see, I've got that waiting for me over here. I've got about a 1/4 of a cup of bacon grease. You can use whatever kind of oil you want, and I'm going to add about a 1/2 cup of flour, or that was a 1/2 cup, and we'll see how we work with that. I think that's going to be about right. And I'm just going to let this brown just like we do for any of the gravies that we make. It's the liquid that changes the flavor from one to the other. You can use crushed tomatoes and have it with more tomato pieces in it if you would rather. I'm going to put about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Let me start out with a 1/4. I don't want it too salty. I'm going to put some fresh cracked black pepper in it with my ratchet grinder from Sur La Table that I love so much. So much easier than doing that with my hands. Some mornings they don't want to do that. Okay, I'm browning this just over a medium heat. I don't want to burn it, but I don't want it to take all day, so I'm going to do it over a medium heat. Our biscuits have about 5 more minutes, so it should all come out about the same time. Okay, I'm just going to let this brown, and then I'll be back and show y'all what happens next. See, it's turning beige, but it's not as dark as I want it yet. I want it a little bit darker. I went back and added 2 tablespoons more flour, and I'm just letting that cook just a little bit. I don't want it to have that raw flour taste, and then I'll add my tomato liquid. Now you can make tomato gravy like this. You could have browned some onion and bell pepper in here and add tomatoes and use it over meatloaf or something like that if you want to. I whizzed my onions up in my Power Shelf from Tupperware. I mean my tomatoes to make them a liquid. Now I like my tomato gravy pretty thick because I want to just get a bite of biscuit with tomato gravy on it. So y'all could add some more tomato sauce, some more whizzed up tomatoes, some more chicken broth, whatever you want to do to get it to the consistency that you want it. I want mine thick. I'm just going to let that cook on low for a little bit, medium low. I hear the beeper going off. Our biscuits should be done. Okay, here's the biscuits in the skillet, and I'm fixing to dump them out on this pizza board so I can butter the bottom of them. So I can butter them, but I'm going to leave them like this because here how that is. I want the bottoms to stay crispy, but that turned out pretty good. I'm going to put some Kerrygold butter in these babies, and in a minute we're going to have bacon and eggs and tomato gravy and biscuits. And I'll show y'all when I get everything together. Okay, I've buttered all of them, and here's the tops, and then here's the ones that are still standing on their head. I like that crispy bottom on there. I've got us some bacon fried. I'm fixing to fry some eggs, and we're going to have breakfast. Okay, here's the tomato gravy and the biscuits. And I've got one split open with some gravy on it that I'm fixing to enjoy. Hey y'all, now you know how to make homemade biscuits and tomato gravy. Make that for breakfast in the morning. That'll be a good Sunday morning treat. I hope y'all have a good day today and do something that's fun. It's your day off work, so enjoy it. If it is your day off, I'm going to work today and I'm going to enjoy working. I'm loving working over at Sur La Table. It's fun. So I will be back here Tuesday with another good recipe, and y'all meet me right here in the kitchen and we'll learn something else that's yummy. Y'all have a blessed day.